Communication. How may I help you?
I'm trying to report a missing person on my daughter. She hasn't shown up from work.
Okay, sir. And from what address?
She was last seen in Plano. She lives in Fort Worth.
And how long ago have you heard from her? How long she's been missing?
On Saturday morning at 3:45 a.m. is the last anybody's heard from her. I'm just finding out about this. Everybody's freaking out.
In the late evening hours on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2014, a man by the name of Mark Morris called 911 in Plano, Texas, to report his daughter, 23-year-old Christina, had been missing for 4 days. Police were dispatched that same night and started gathering information from her family. They learned that 23-year-old Christina Morris went out with a group of friends on Friday night after having an argument with her boyfriend. Her friends say that they got together and went to a few bars that night, and then went back to one of their apartments. But at around 3 a.m., she was heard crying and arguing with her boyfriend over the phone. After hanging up her call, she left the apartment telling everyone that she needed to go home and hasn't been heard from since. Christina was raised in Dallas, Texas, by her father Mark and her stepmother Anna, but she always remained close with her biological mother, Johnny. Her friends and family describe her as smart, outgoing, and ambitious. About a year earlier, Christina landed a job at a dating service and moved out to Plano, where she and her boyfriend, Hunter Foster, shared an apartment together. Hunter was a skateboarder who had pursued a modeling career in New York. Successful at first, it hadn't worked out, and he was back in town with plenty of free time. Police took a closer look at Hunter and started noticing a bunch of red flags. Hunter had been suffering from a drug addiction and was recently arrested for selling drugs to an undercover cop. Christina's family say that this put a strain on their relationship, and arguments between them were becoming more frequent lately. Christina had just been promoted at her job. She was the one who paid the rent and covered all their expenses, while Hunter spent his time going out and partying with his friends. Her parents say that she no longer wanted to be in this relationship, and that Hunter knew she was planning on leaving him. They also found it suspicious that he didn't report her missing, nor did he reach out to anyone to find out where she was. Detectives tried reaching Hunter, but all their calls went straight to voicemail. The lead detective on the case started questioning the people who were last known to have seen her. He learns that on the night she went missing, Christina went to meet her friends at the shops at Legacy Mall, a shopping complex that includes retail stores and restaurants where they planned to stop by a few bars. Her friends said that she drove there to meet them and parked her car in a garage at the complex. After leaving the bars that night, a friend of theirs by the name of Paulina invited everyone back to her apartment, and they all took the 10-minute walk back to her place. But not too long after they got there, Christina's friends say that they heard her arguing with her boyfriend over the phone, and when she hung up with him, she told everyone she was going home and left early. The officer drove down to the parking garage and found her car still parked on the first floor, but there was no sign of Christina. Finding her car parked in the same spot 3 days after she disappeared was not a good sign. This indicated that she probably never made it home that night and that she may have been abducted. There was now a sense of urgency to find Christina, and detectives needed to act quickly. In most of these cases, the people closest to the missing person usually have something to do with their disappearance. Police know that Christina lives with her boyfriend, Hunter Foster, and that they had an argument over the phone right before she disappeared. Police headed straight to their apartment to speak with Hunter, but nobody seemed to be home. As officers try to track down Hunter Foster, detectives shift their focus to Christina's last known movements. According to her friends, Christina left Paulina's apartment that evening at the same time as a former classmate of hers, a man by the name of Enrique. Whoever this is was now the last person known to have seen Christina before she disappeared, and police need to speak to him.
Hello?
Hi, Enrique. This is Detective Kathy Stam of Plano Police Department.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you
Give me
doing?
1 second now.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Hey, Enrique, what time do you get off work?
I'll be leaving here soon. I'm going to finish up a couple things.
Okay. I wanted to see if I could get you to come by so we could talk to you about Christina. Think you can leave here in a couple minutes and come on by the station? Apparently it is, obviously everybody's getting very concerned.
Right.
still hasn't shown up. So,
Yeah, definitely, and I want to help the best I can.
okay. And really quick, if you don't mind, Enrique, you said that you were leaving at the same time as Christina, and you guys walked over to where your vehicles were parked. Is that right?
Yeah, we walked separate ways. We walked until the end of the apartment complex, and after that we just split up because I went to a different parking lot that she was.
Okay. I hope you can get away pretty quick. It's getting pretty serious, and we'd like to try to find her.
I'm gonna clock out here soon, and I'll head over there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
While waiting for Enrique to show up at the police station, officers head over to the shops at Legacy. They spot multiple CCTV cameras located between the bars they all went to and Paulina's apartment, and a few more cameras were located in and around the parking garage where Christina parked her car. They were able to obtain most of the footage and brought it back to the station to go through it. At around 11 p.m., a group of 4 people can be seen walking toward the bar. Detectives are able to identify Christina by her clothing. She's walking with Paulina, Enrique, and another one of her friends. They played back the footage over and over, studying their body language to see if there may have been some tense moments, but they all seemed to act casually. After leaving the bar, they all went back to Paulina's apartment, where they stayed until about 3 a.m. That's when Christina's friends say she left with Enrique. Detectives look to see if any of the footage captured them walking to their cars. At 3:47 a.m., a camera inside of a hair salon captures 2 people passing by, but it's impossible to make a positive identification. Just a few yards down the street is an ATM machine, and it captures a better image. At 3:53 a.m., 2 distinct figures walk into frame. It's Enrique and Christina. Neither of them seems to be intoxicated, and there's no signs of an argument between them. So far, everything matches what Enrique said, yet for some reason, Christina never made it to her car. Detectives need to know if Christina made plans to meet with her boyfriend, and they're hoping Enrique can help them find out. Enrique confirms that he and Christina both left Paulina's house at the same time.
And after that, we just walked from the apartment to the end of the apartment complex, and we split.
Can you tell if that's you and her walking?
Yeah,
It is?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Would you be willing to go over to show us kind of the route that you guys took?
Yeah.
Okay. You drive a Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
And what color is it?
Gray.
Gray Camaro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Enrique is then asked what he knows about Christina's fight with her boyfriend.
Do you know anything about them arguing or fighting or breaking up or anything like that?
Mm-hmm.
He goes on to say that he does recall Christina being on the phone, but that he didn't hear what she said.
She sounded like she was raising her voice.
She was raising her voice?
Yeah. Sounded like she was getting upset, but that's about it. I didn't really...
But not like crying, or just like mad or...
Yeah, just mad.
Mad?
Yeah.
This confirms witness accounts that Christina had a fight with her boyfriend that night, but Enrique can't recall any more details.
Are you sure you don't remember anything that Christina was saying at all?
I really don't. I was paying attention, to be honest.
Okay.
Unable to help any further, Enrique is free to go. It's now been 5 days since Christina went missing, and pressure to find her is mounting. As police survey the area from a helicopter, her friends and family organize a search effort and start handing out flyers in every location she's known to frequent. But one person was very noticeably absent. Hunter was nowhere in sight, and suspicions around him started to grow. Christina's cell phone records came in and confirmed that she called him multiple times the night she went missing, but her phone has been turned off ever since. Detectives were able to get a hold of Hunter and asked him to come in for questioning. Hunter claims that he was unresponsive over the past 5 days because he'd lost his phone.
Okay, so you lost your phone at a gas station, and which one?
Uptown.
At a gas station in Uptown?
And somebody had actually just called me to give it back.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I was really
I'm shocked.
The conversation is shifted to Hunter's relationship with Christina.
How long have you guys been dating?
almost a year now.
Almost a year? Okay. I talked to her dad, and her dad said that you guys have been friends for a lot longer than that. Is that right?
Ever since grade 7.
Grade 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Any problems in the relationship at all?
Not at all.
Hunter says he spent the weekend with some of his friends in Dallas and hasn't seen Christina since she left the house on Friday night.
Y'all weren't fighting? Y'all weren't arguing about anything? Okay, no disagreements or anything like that.
Hunter claims that he and Christina had no problems at all the night she went missing, which contradicts accounts her friends gave to police.
So from the time you left your house until, say, 10 or 11 the next morning, at any point did you come into Plano? Okay. So you never went into Plano one time?
No, one time.
Hunter goes on to explain why he hasn't reported Christina missing this whole time.
I really just didn't think that she's not the type of girl that would do this at all. That's why I figured she was with her parents.
Disappear, you mean?
Yes, ma'am.
The detective asks to read Hunter's text messages with Christina from Friday night.
Why can't you answer my call? I could give a what you're doing. Just answer me. I feel like a psychotic. I'm sorry. I really am sorry, but why can't you talk to me? Good night. I hope you're okay because I'm not. Phone's dead.
The text messages confirm what her friends told police and contradict Hunter's claim that they weren't fighting that night. Hunter is asked to allow police to download a copy of all the data on his cell phone.
Am I still going to be able to leave if I don't do this?
You can leave anytime you want to. You're free to leave anytime.
I really don't feel comfortable doing that.
Despite suspicions that Hunter may be hiding something, he's well within his rights to refuse this request.
Okay. Well, if you don't want to allow the download of the phone, that's fine.
Without any further evidence, police can't keep him in custody and allow him to go home. They instead reach out to his cell phone carrier and request his metadata, which will show them his precise location over the past week. But later that same day, detectives would get their first major break in the case. CCTV footage came in from the parking garage where Christina left her car the night she went missing. The first camera is installed at the main entrance and should show whether or not Christina made it into the garage that night. Just a few minutes before 4 a.m., a man and a woman can be seen walking side by side into the parking garage. It's clearly Christina and Enrique, since the woman's outfit matches the description Christina's friends gave to police. Enrique had already told detectives that he and Christina split up at the entrance because he parked his car in a different garage. But as police continue watching the footage, it becomes clear that this was not true. Enrique doesn't leave Christina and continues walking with her toward her car. They switch to the camera closest to where Christina parked her car. There's a steel beam blocking the view, but Christina's headlights can be seen flashing as she apparently unlocks her car. There's another camera located on the outside of the garage, pointing toward her parking spot. It's motion activated and records just a short clip whenever it senses movement. 2 minutes after Christina enters the garage with Enrique, a car happens to pass by and activates it. There's nobody by her car, but a dark-colored vehicle facing hers starts to reverse when suddenly, the camera stops recording. At this point, police know that Christina did reach her car, but most likely left the garage in the other vehicle. Detectives pull up footage from the last two cameras located in the back of the garage, hoping to get a better description of the dark-colored vehicle. They zoom in on the car but can't tell if someone's in the passenger seat. They were, however, able to identify the car as a dark-colored Chevrolet Camaro, just like the one Enrique said he owns. One thing that is clear is that Enrique's account of what happened that night was not true, and police bring him back in that same evening.
Is there a chance you could have parked in this garage?
No, I'm not for a second, no. Except for my friend's house.
Is that your car?
Yeah.
Something's wrong, Enrique. This picture is in that garage. That picture is taken of you walking in that garage with Christina, and that's your car coming out of that same garage. That's not your car coming out of this garage. That's your car coming out of this garage. So,
Like, Guess I parked there. After I parked here in the first place, I know for a fact.
Okay.
I could have moved that there when we went back to the spot or something, I'm not sure.
You walked in there, we got a picture of you guys walking in there together. I mean, what happened? You can't remember which way she went in the garage?
I went to my car, I guess, and she went the other way.
When pressed by detectives and confronted with the video evidence, Enrique claims that he was intoxicated that night and doesn't have a good recollection.
I drank more than I said.
You did? You don't want to tell me?
I don't want to get in trouble.
Enrique starts becoming visibly nervous and starts looking more suspicious, but police need more evidence to make an arrest. They searched his car but didn't find anything and had no choice but to let him go. Police now had two suspects in Christina's disappearance, Enrique and Hunter. As the days passed, Christina's family ramped up their search efforts, holding on to the last bit of hope they had, while police followed every possible lead they could find. Cell phone records belonging to Christina's boyfriend Hunter finally came in. It turns out that his phone pinged in Dallas over the weekend, which corroborates his story. Since he was in a different city that whole weekend, Hunter is ruled out of the investigation, which leaves Enrique as the prime suspect in Christina's disappearance. After obtaining Enrique's bank records, police learned that just 6 hours after he left the parking lot, he went to a car wash where he washed his car early in the morning before stopping by a gas station. Detectives paid a visit to both of those locations to see if they could obtain CCTV footage. The car wash didn't have any security cameras on its premises, but the gas station did. One of those cameras overlooks the gas pump that Enrique used to fill up his tank. At 9:58 a.m., a Chevrolet Camaro pulls up to the gas pump. Enrique steps out of the driver's seat and walks around the car, but then suddenly stops as he passes by the trunk. It looks as though something catches his attention as he does a double take. Another camera captures him grabbing a rag and then scrubbing down the passenger door handle. He then grabs a squeegee, which is used to wipe down windshields, but he instead uses it to wipe the trunk and his license plate. Detectives are confident that Enrique's odd behavior has got to have something to do with Christina's disappearance, but there's only one way to find out for sure. Police seize Enrique's car and transport it to a forensics lab for a thorough examination. They collected a bunch of samples from it to test for DNA, but the results won't come in for a few more months. Over the following weeks, Christina's family continued searching for her and did everything they could to raise awareness about her disappearance, but they couldn't get any closer to finding her. Rumors about Enrique's involvement spread quickly, and Christina's family tried to contact him in hopes that he could provide them with more information, but Enrique did not want to speak with them. They became infuriated that he was seemingly off the hook and living his life as if nothing happened while they continued their desperate search for her. So they decided to stage a protest outside of his home, demanding answers. This attracted press coverage, and Enrique eventually gave an interview to local news stations proclaiming his innocence.
What do you think about the actions of the family against you and your family?
I feel like they're very wrong. They're accusing me of something. They're pressuring me to say something I don't know personally. They've put my name out there so much that people are starting to see me as a monster when I'm really one of the nicest people you can ever meet.
Are you afraid for your life?
I am afraid for my life because of all the threats.
Enrique, do you have anything to do with Christina's disappearance?
No, I do not. I have nothing to do with her disappearance.
Did you harm her in any way?
No, I didn't. I wouldn't harm anything. Not even an animal, a fly, nothing.
What happened?
I have no idea. I wish I knew.
After several agonizing months, the DNA results from Enrique's car finally came in. It was determined with a high degree of certainty that Christina's DNA was on the mat inside of the trunk and on the rubber seal of the hatch. On December 13, 2014, Enrique was arrested on a charge of aggravated kidnapping. Because they have no body and no murder weapon, prosecutors decide not to charge him with murder and risk losing the case, but they hope that they can secure a life sentence for the kidnapping. During Enrique's trial, prosecutors presented compelling evidence to the jury, which included forensic evidence, the surveillance footage, and inconsistencies in Enrique's story. On September 21st, 2016, the jury returned with a unanimous verdict.
Verdict form reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of aggravated kidnapping as charged in the indictment.
Enrique Orochi was convicted of first-degree aggravated kidnapping and was handed a sentence of life in prison with a possibility of parole after 30 years. This provided some closure for Cristina's devastated family, but Enrique continued to maintain his innocence and wouldn't tell them where he put her remains. It wasn't until 3.5 years after her disappearance that her family would finally get the closure they needed.
I saw a picture of her skull that was accidentally posted on Facebook.
That's how Johnny Hare says she first got word about human remains found earlier this month in Anna that turned out to be her daughter, Christina.
The eyes, the facial features, the teeth, everything reminded me of Christina.
She says she's still haunted by the images of bones posted. She says it wasn't meant to offend her, but rather alert people about the discovery made by an excavation crew on March 7th, and she happened to notice it.
Based on the information police gathered, they concluded that after leaving Paulina's apartment, Enrique walked Christina back to her car as she argued with Hunter over the phone. Detectives believe that when they arrived at the garage, Enrique persuaded Christina to get into his car by offering to drive her home or to go see her boyfriend in Dallas. What happened next is not clear, but it likely ended with her murder that same night. After getting rid of the body, Enrique headed straight to a car wash to clean evidence left behind on his car, but traces of Christina's DNA remained in the trunk. Enrique never admitted to his crime and continues to maintain his innocence to this day. Enrique Orochi is currently housed in the French Robertson unit in Abilene, Texas, and won't be eligible for parole until 2044.